Who do you think is the greatest UFC fighter of all time?
Jon Jones.
Hello everyone, welcome to MMA Wired. Is Jon Jones ready to fight? Dana White does think it's time he faced Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic. Is Luke Rockhold facing issues after an abortion issue and a big breakup? What about his UFC career? Why did Jorge Masvidal just call Conor McGregor a fucking pussy? What is Masvidal's problem with McGregor? Will they face off soon? What does Israel Adesanya have to say about Alex Pereira? Stick around till the end and we've got you covered. Don't miss out on our next update. Subscribe and get your hands on the latest stories before the rest. First up, let's look at what's troubling Luke Rockhold.
I mean, I know it's not a popular subject right now, but I did have an abortion and I did have a big breakup, and it was just later in life. And having to make that decision, a lot of things just weren't right. There wasn't a lot of truth on both sides, on either side, and it just me up. And it made me transition and really change my life for the better. So
Luke Rockhold has some very personal reasons for resuming his fighting career. He is scheduled to step back into the octagon on August 20th, 2022 during UFC 278. However, he's been out of action for the past 3 years due to burnout. He said recently, "I know it's not a popular subject right now, but I did have an abortion, and I did have a big breakup. There was a lot committed in trying to, I'm 37 and wanting that, needing that, and then it all falling apart. It hurt. It definitely was a big turning point in realizing where my life was and where I'm going. Having a kid on the way and prepping for that and carrying the weight of the kid and another, it weighs on you to where you want to put yourself in that place later in life. Having to make that decision, a lot of things just weren't right. There wasn't a lot of truth on both sides, on either side, and it just me up." Talking about the changes that he had to undergo, Luke Rockhold said, "And it made me transition and change my life for the better. Ever since then, really, I've been sober. I think Super Bowl weekend was that, and the week after was sobriety." But what about his MMA career? This is what Luke Rockhold shared. "So, I want what I want, and I want it all. That was that. I want this thing, and every part of me wants this, and I'm not going to do anything that's going to compromise that come that day. I'll do more than Paulo Costa, and I'll do more leading up to that point, and I'll do more in the cage, and I'll keep doing more after." Now let's look at why Jorge Masvidal is calling out Conor McGregor.
I don't know, man. That dude's been talking wild for a second. If he fights and gets a victory, and he wants this, and some of me, man, because you know I'll do to that little dude, bro. I'll little guy up, man. He's a Dana White, president of this company, said I'm too much man for him. I get it why people want to see him hurt for the stunts he's been pulling, but he don't want this shit. He's just talking so he can get his name out there. He was cheering for Nate. He wanted to run it back with Nate. You think he's at home seeing that fight saying, "I want to fight that dude"? That dude ain't retarded. You see, he punches old people in the face because those are fights that he could win. He don't want this shit.
It's undeniable that they are some of the biggest stars in the UFC. A matchup between these two would be explosive. Masvidal recently said, "Conor doesn't want the fight. If he did, he'd post something. He'd say something. He'd probably just insult my mom or some relative of mine or my nation where I come from. He'll say something like that, but he won't say anything about a fight or a fight date." So the Conor thing, he just wants it. I hope it goes away, because he really doesn't want to fight. He doesn't mention me or say anything. Money doesn't entertain him no more. I think the only thing that makes him want to get out of bed is cocaine. You're a fucking pussy. We could do it man to man in the cage, and just once and for all get paid a handsome reward while doing it. So if this individual doesn't want to do it because he knows what's going to happen, that's okay. Every man has a free will. You do whatever you want, but don't say you're a fighter, and don't take cheap shots at me, especially the things that he's been saying, talking about my legal problems and this and that. McGregor isn't someone who will take this kind of insult lightly. He replied and said, "Insult your mom? What a loser you are, mate. Me and your mom get along." Masvidal then hit back saying, "Yeah, my mom loves you, man. She knows you're about to be the biggest paycheck for me and a relatively easy fight." Let's now talk about what Israel Adesanya has to say about Alex Pereira. So, Israel Adesanya doesn't see Alex Pereira as too big of a challenge in MMA. He recently said, "I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira because I'll make him look easy. Yeah, right now, just enjoy the setup fights. Enjoy the setup victories. You know? Yeah, that's overhyped. Lastly, we will look at what Dana White thinks about Jon Jones returning to the UFC. So the UFC president feels that Jon Jones is ready to make his comeback after a 2-year-long absence. Dana White revealed, Jon Jones is ready to go. We're just waiting for an opponent. It's either going to be Francis Ngannou, depending on how long his knee is going to take to recover, or Stipe Miocic. It's very interesting because I'm a huge believer in ring rust, White said, but for all the negative things you could say about Jon Jones and his personal life and things that have happened, he's the best. He's definitely the best of all time. And that's a wrap. Let us know your thoughts in the comments.